ini digelar untuk mengajak para remaja mengisi waktu luang dengan rangkaian acara yang tentunya menghibur, menambah wawasan, dan mengasah keterampilan. Nah, acara Glarisa ini tentunya dapat berjalan dengan sedemikian baiknya karena dukungan dari sponsor kesayangan kita. Yudhistira, menumbuhkan pengetahuan, meraih prestasi. Majalah Mata Air, majalah sains, budaya, dan spiritualitas. Smart Cool, be happy to service your air system. Soul Love Pearl, untuk cantik sehatmu. Nah, sebelum kita melanjutkan ke agenda kita berikutnya, mari sama-sama kita saksikan cuplikan dari sponsor berikut ini. Baik, tanpa berlama-lama, marilah kita mulai acara Grand Final English Debate Competition Glarisa Cup 2021. Kepada yang terhormat, Chief Adjudicator, you may continue to the next agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. All the committee can assign all the teams to their case building room.
what you see will be. Rhymes that keep their secrets will unfold behind the clouds. And there upon the rainbow is the answer to a never-ending Show no fear, for she may fade away. In your hands, the birth of a new day. Rhymes that keep their secrets will unfold behind the clouds. And there upon the rainbow is the answer to a never-ending story. Never-ending story. Never-ending Turn around, look at what you see. In her face, the mirror of your dream. Make believe I'm everywhere, hidden in the light. Written on the pages is the answer to a never-ending story. Reach the stars, fly a fantasy. Dream a dream, and what you see will be. Rhymes that keep their secrets will unfold behind the clouds. And there upon the rainbow is the answer to a never-ending story. Story. this far. Waiting for a star to fall and carry on into my arms. That's where you belong, in my arms, baby, yeah. Waiting for a star to fall and carry on into my arms. That's where you belong, in my arms, baby, yeah. Waiting however long. I told
Okay, case building time have ended. Now we are going to proceed to the debate. Okay. To start the debate, I call upon the first speaker of the government team here. Hello, the first speaker of the government
Hello,
team.
testing. Am I audible?
Yes. Before the debate starts, all participants can turn your camera on.
Okay, give me a minute. I will start my speech. Wait, I'm going to set my timer first. I'm going to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panels, notice how in this motion we are not necessarily talking about whether or not cancel culture is inherently regrettable, but we are regretting here is that the fact that it has risen so much and popularized that its original intention have been forgotten and it has been misused by the general public to create unnecessary canceling culture. Right now, you can see because of the rise of the cancel culture itself, we can see that almost every month or a week there will be people who are cancelled in social media, in public, and etc. Especially for the celebrity or famous people, right? They are the main actor that we should talk about in this debate. What we mean by cancel culture here is the practice of calling out people for a mistake that they made by exposing them and or shaming them and boycotting their name or their product and etc. With the rise of it, people tend to searching for other people's mistake. We consider the cancel culture might be beneficial for calling out people who really made a mistake or create justice for a victim, but the overuse of it has been making the benefit of it overshadow and should be regretted as a whole. Our goal as the government of the house is to create a better and less toxic society and create a better use for the social media as a whole. Moving to my first argument, my first point is how the rise of cancel culture fit the standard of something that should be regretted by the society as a whole. Standard of something that should be regrettable is that first the rise of cancel culture already making the purpose of the cancel culture itself cannot be achieved. Panels, we need to realize that the cancel culture it exists at the very first place as a form of speaking up and justice provider for the victim of a crime, right? Cancel culture usually targeting a famous people as a way to expose them because society realized that it's hard to confront those kind of people because they are famous, they are higher to and harder to like confront because they have like a more privilege and etc. Like cancel culture making people using people power to help them seeking justice. In many practice of it, it has been successful to exposing responsible people who really made a mistake. But we consider the cancel culture is very needed in society because it helps a victim of a crime and etc. But we because right now there's an increasing practice of it and the rise of it, we need to notice that it's not resulting in the same result and the purpose as the original practice. Right now, Because of the people already realize how powerful cancel culture is, many people are using it as a way to bring down other people. The main actor that usually impacted by the cancel culture itself is usually celebrity, right? We need to understand that when you becoming a celebrity, you are not only gaining fans but also haters itself. These haters are usually the one who are trying to bring you down as the celebrity, making the practice of the cancel culture is misused. Why is it problematic? As Ben previously said, the cancel culture should be only be used for calling out people who are really wrong or doing something. If there are many misuse of the cancel culture, the ineffectivity of it will be the effectivity of it will be decreased, and later on will be the harm of it will be explained by second speaker. Second of all, because of the rising of it, many people who are cancelled are people who are innocent and reality doesn't do anything. We need to notice how in criminal justice system there are a narrative that say that innocent until proven guilty, right? Exactly, this is not the narrative that needs to exist in the society to prevent us to harming the innocent people's life. But in the practice of the rising cancel culture itself, this kind of narrative doesn't exist at all. People could have just made up a story in the internet and share it and make ask them people for share it, right? And later on, many people will believe it and canceling people who are mentioned in the story itself. This kind of practice is what makes the rise of cancel culture is should be regrettable, because you need to notice what harm that could be done by the cancel culture itself. First, you can harming people's mental health. You know that in the social media right now, mental health of the people is already harming so much by the higher standard of society. People expect you to become better than everybody else, especially the moment that you become a celebrity. There's so many people that trying to bring you down and etc. The moment that you are innocent and you are not doing anything, but people still cancel you, imagine how the burden of your what are you going to feel, right? This kind of cancel culture already taking so many life and so many people's benefit. For instance, like we can see in the many years ago, like James Charles case, where he actually proved innocent, but people sometimes still canceling him for that, right? And people already boycott the product when in fact that James Charles is actually innocent. Those kind of harm that we need to notice here, because the rising of it has actually making the people who are innocent are becoming much more of the target of this practice rather than the people who really done the mistake itself. We believe even if we in the end of the day, if we let go one of the people who are responsible in order to like protect 100 innocent, we can still consider it's still okay, right? The problem in the status quo itself that when the urgency of why we need to regret the rise of the cancel culture itself is because there are the hoax, the news that are spreading in the social media, they're spreading in the society itself as a whole, that making the practice of cancel culture has becoming much less ineffective in a way. And second of all, we believe that if this there's of the house want to say that we need the cancel culture to be the check and balance. We believe that there's also because the society is already progressing enough, we believe that the law system is also already progressing enough, and there's a check and balance for the society and for the people that are harmed by their celebrities. And also for this vigilante justice, we believe that those with the rise of cancel culture itself, the people are establishing a new kind of law where they are harming people as much as they like, doesn't care about the law, justice, and etc. And people tend to more less want to take serious of a cases because of the vigilante justice system. They will be explained more on my next speaker. For all of these reasons above, we are so pro to propose.
Thank you for the speech. Now I call upon the first speaker of opposition team.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. I will start in. Hold up. I will start in 3, 2, 1. This house, uh, this house regrets the rise of cancel culture. That is the motion that we are debating today. We are the opposition, and we do not regret the rise of cancel culture at all. First, I would like to rebut a few statements that you have made. The intentions are gone. What do you mean the intentions are gone? The intentions are still there. It's actually great that it's on the rise because guess what? Justice is blind and there's still a legal justice system acting on this world. False accusations and fans attacking the accuser. That can also be tackled by the actual justice system that is acting right now. I do agree with their definitions on what cancel culture is, and I do agree that we should emphasize on the rise of it. Cancel culture refers to the popular practice of withdrawing support for or canceling public figures and companies after they have done or said something considered objectionable or offensive. Cancel culture is generally discussed as being performed on social media in the form of group shaming. These public figures are not only like public figures who are politicians or stuff like that, but also internet celebrities, just like their example, James Charles. Right now, there are a lot of menaces to society, and they are hiding with the masks of figures, whether it be a company or someone. These menaces do horrible things in society. We can see many women being taken advantage of, workers being underpaid, sexual allegations everywhere. This is why the whole Me Too movement and the whole cancel culture thing happens. It is on the rise because that also keeps on rising. We support cancel culture as a means to hold people accountable for their actions and to help people speak out on topics that aren't brought up as normally as other topics. The most vulnerable actors here would be the social media personalities, the viewers, the companies who are in this whole drama situation. The urgency here is that people are quiet and afraid to speak out on these topics, and they are pressured by the shame that might be brought if they speak out about these topics. That our end goal is to decrease internet personalities, famous people, and etc. from doing socially and legally socially bad things. Now, onto my arguments. My first argument as well. People are afraid to speak up. Why are they afraid to speak up? Like I've said in my urgency, people are quiet and afraid to speak out on these topics because they are pressured by the shame that might be brought if they speak out about these topics. What is this shame? Well, this shame would be the consequences that are brought upon them. Let's say, imagine trying to go up against people who have a large, strong fan base, or in modern terms, stans. The thing about strong fan bases is that they would want to try to defend the internet personality they like very strongly. If you were to come out trying to accuse a very popular person of doing something wrong, there's a very likely scenario that his fans will attack you back. We're talking death threats, doxing, isolation. Why do these fans would want to do this? Well, it's because these fans like this internet personality. They want to keep them they want to keep watching them. They don't want their idol to be framed as a bad person because it doesn't fit their current mental image of them. So they just go to the accuser, trying to prevent them from speaking up. Another thing is that these internet personalities have a much larger platform than the victims. Actually, not only internet personalities, public figures too. They have a larger audience compared to the victim. People are more likely to look at their arguments rather than the victims, because why are these internet personalities people in the first place, are popular in the first place? Well, they're more charismatic, they have a strong fan base who don't want to look at them as a wrongdoer. The thing about cancel culture is that, well, it actually helps support the victim. It enables other people who aren't attached to these personalities to band together with the victim. And we're just ignoring differences, whether you're left wing, right wing, black, white, Asian. Nobody cares. If you have one common enemy, you will band together and try to end it. It would be easier for the victim to speak up if they know that there would be people willing to hear them out and band together with them to bring justice towards the internet personality in question. It brings light to topics that aren't in the spotlight. The justice system is here for a reason, and if people aren't bringing these topics to the justice system, then they are not going to get the justice they deserve. What is the actual reason that there is a justice system? It is to actually bring justice to people. It brings justice to both parties. we can say that right now that the justice system is not as good as we thought, because richer people and higher class people have the advantage with lawyers and more funds. This is the way to combat people who are immune to the justice system with their many expensive lawyers and huge companies who only care about making profit. Cancel culture is a way to combat this. Justice is brought to both parties. What I mean by justice to both parties is that because justice is blind, justice can mean both ways, either justice in a bad way or justice in a good way. Justice in a good way is for the victims. The victims get justice. This justice would be that they will be supported, they would be freed from this mental torture of pressure from that horrible past that they have experienced. And what is the justice for the doer? The justice for the doer is that they will be held accountable for their actions. An example that I would like to bring up is something that happened in the Smash Brothers community. Smash Brothers is a popular Nintendo game. Well, it's a fighting game, and it's very popular with a huge fan base. Now, this example that I'm bringing up is the Nairo and Captain Zack accusations. Both players have a huge fan base. But one thing for sure is that it's always a he said, she said situation in here. No one brings up a true, clear case about it, whether it be from witnesses, friends, or the players themselves. And what happened after that? Nairo was bashed by the whole community. And a year later, here we are, Nairo was actually proven innocent. That is the whole use of the justice system. The whole justice system is here to actually help both parties and to actually settle it correctly. The rise of the cancel culture actually provides evidence and clear stories from both sides, which also helps the justice system and also cancel culture. That is all, and thank you.
Thank you. I follow up on the second speaker of government team.
Testing, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, wait. Let me get my timer. Okay. I'll begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panels, it is quite funny the side opposition tries their best to frame cancel culture as something that is inherently good, that the rise of it has brought so many good things, and that there are check and balances to prevent a bad canceling from happening, canceling people that is actually innocent, right? But notice several rebuttals to our side opposition, right? First of all, notice, right? They give to you the example of Smash Brothers community, right? Where they say that, oh, this one guy gets cancelled for an entire year, right? He gets accused of a lot of bad things, of sexual harassment and things like that. But after that 1 year, he then has been proven innocent by the criminal justice system. Thus, it proved their point of there being a check and balance system. But notice, right, how the examples that they give exactly prove our point, right? That the rise of cancel culture leads to more victims in the end of the day, right? Of people that doesn't deserve to be canceled, right? Over the sure, this one guy eventually gets proven innocent, right? But notice how over the 1 year period of under the canceling that he underwent through, right? There is so much harm that is done to him unjustly, right? His reputation has been harmed. He lost friends, he lost fans, he lost his livelihood as a player of the Smash community, right? Because people view him in negative, right? Through the canceling, right? But even though he has been proven innocent, right? We say that if the end of the day, the damage is already been done, even if already been proven innocent later on, we say that it is still unjustified for them to get cancelled in the very first place, right? And how exactly did they get cancelled? It is exactly because there is a rise of cancel culture, that people are just canceling people left and right without the actual appropriate evidences to back their claims up, right? Now, another rebuttal is that they say that, oh, the
POI.
intentions no, thank you. The intentions of cancel culture are not gone, right? They say that, oh, it's still there and things like that, right? But notice that in the end of the day, the original intentions of cancel culture is to cancel someone that deserves it 100% with actual proof, right? Instead of just canceling someone because you think that they are deserving of it without any actual good evidence to back them up, right? Now, in the current status quo, right, what are the intentions of people that cancel someone? A lot of them simply want to gain clout. They want to be seen as the hero, to expose someone from doing a bad thing, right? Or they are simply a hater that want to cancel people because they don't like that certain someone, right? We can see that happening in a lot of cases with the rise of cancel culture, with the example that I will give later on in my substantive, right? Third rebuttals where they say that, oh, people are afraid to speak up, that it give the rise of cancel culture, give a chance for the victims, and it give them actual power to fight against their oppressors, right? First of all, notice, right, they give to you the example on how victims are free to speak up because they are afraid of being attacked by stands and things like that, right? But first of all, notice how in the end of the day, stands and things like that will still attack these people in the end of the day, right? Even if there is cancel culture or not, these people still get that rest, they still get dogs and things like that, right? We don't get the exclusivity that they try to bring up, right? And second of all, that no matter what, right, as long as these people have enough evidence, right, they can still bring them up to the criminal justice system, right? They don't need to make it public and involve the general public to harm someone that badly if they cannot even win in the criminal justice system, right? Also, while we do agree that cancel culture is a great thing that gives victims power, right? But notice how in the end of the day, what came from the rise of cancel culture is that it gives disproportionate power to the victims, right? Which say victims that might not even have proof to back up their statements, right? These so-called victims might be simply people chasing clout and things like that, right? The rise of cancel culture creates even more victims in the end of the day with people that get canceled without a reason, internet celebrities losing their livelihood and things like that, ruining their reputation, which we say is the most vulnerable actor here, right? Now, moving on to my substantive, how the rise of cancel culture creates a more toxic environment and reduces its own effectivity, right? Two layers to it. First layer, cancel culture and toxicity. Panels, what you need to notice here, right, is the fact that with the rise of cancel culture, it has created a big change of landscape in the internet, right? Where now people are more than ever scared to talk about their feelings or feeling and scared that whatever one of tweet that they made over a decade ago can be solved in them being forever condemned by society, right? It also creates a culture in which people are more than ever trying to find more and more people that they can cancel, right? Whether it's because they feel that they are justified in doing so or just because they want attention from the act of canceling someone, right? We can see this in a lot of cases. For example, the commentary YouTuber Slazo being given the false allegation of sexual harassment by his previous girlfriend, losing hundreds and thousands of subscribers before finally being able to disprove that all of the allegations are false and that it is only a ploy to gain attention, right? A lot of people seek attention because it feels gratifying and it's the environment that they grew up in, right? Especially with the rise of cancel culture, where they can be seen as a hero and be put in the limelight as long as they allege something of someone cancelable, right? This sort of environment is exactly the breeding ground for a toxic place where people are always afraid, live in fear of being canceled, and society itself is like a pack of hounds trying to find the next victim that they could cancel, right? This is the world that our opposition is not regretting, right? We can see that, for example, in the YouTuber PewDiePie wearing a military uniform, then the social media calls him a Nazi and supports right ideologies because they thought it was a Nazi uniform, when in fact it is not. It's just a irregular military uniform, right? Second layer, the normalization of cancel culture, reducing its own effectivity, right? Panels notice, right, not only with the rise of cancel culture, right, not only does it create a toxic environment, it also creates a sort of normalization in the act of canceling someone, right? That it become so overused that people have seen it being misused so much, and that now less and less people care about it, right? Whereas previously it might have been super effective, now it's not even that tangible, right? For example, because there is a new allegation every week or even day, you can change the people that you are canceling in a quick succession, right? This creates three problems, right? First problem on the victim of the canceling itself, right? It creates unnecessary burden to them, right? Even though if they are, for example, innocent, right? Where even if the damage might not be big in the long term, right? In the short term, the mental strain that it places to them on the chance that it might completely destroy their career, that they are forced to make a dedicated response to the canceling, and that they need to live in fear over the fact that they might lose their livelihood. It is completely unjustified, right? Second problem, it creates on the people that deserve to be canceled in the first place, right? This sort of normalization can also reduce the damage that can be done to the people that is actually guilty guilty that actually deserve to get canceled, right? Because now everyday people just move on to the next target. They forget who they canceled last week, right? Sure, they might get temporary damages to their branding or profit or etc. But now the damages done to them won't be as big anyway, exactly because of this rise of cancel culture and the normalization of it, right? The third problem that it creates is on the people that is doing the canceling, right? It reduces the amount of people that actually cares about canceling, right? Because now there is so many people that gets canceled that they are unable to make fully informed decisions, and now they know with the increased exposure that a lot of victims of cancel culture aren't as guilty as what people try to make them seem to be, right? A lot of them is at the end of the day later on proven to be innocent, right? End of the day, with those problem, it creates a hamper on the overall effectivity of cancel culture, exactly due to the rise of it. Hence, we say it is completely regrettable, which is why we are so proud to propose. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I call upon the second speaker of opposition team.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Okay. First of all, I would like to clarify a few things, such as my first speaker has already stated. People who platforms have the importance of obviously to create a safe space for people so that they can freely express themselves, and celebrities come in to as a show as as a representative to show on why it's a safe space, because they don't show any harm to any negative communities. They don't mean any harm to any community whatsoever in a negative way. And one thing I would like to mention is that even if people can accuse someone and they get canceled wrongly, even like in the Sazo case, people have he was able to bounce back and still able to make videos on his content, because as easily as people are to accuse someone, it is also possible that they are also going to be easily as proven innocent. That is one important thing to make sense. And then another thing is that people who are wrongly accused, people who are wrongly accused themselves are also canceled afterwards. This creates a balance in between whether you accuse wrongly or properly, which is why, because of that, people will, if they want to accuse someone, of course they will also need the necessary evidence. Next up, I would also like to mention that even with the rise of cancel culture, there are still people who are still untouched, and even until now, even with laws that are being made better and better and becoming more fair, it's still not. They are still not being accused, and the only way to handle people who are immune to the justice system is through proactivity from the people within and from people who know them, and for them to speak out. And through speaking out, people will have their own necessary evidence and see which one to support. And plus, we can't always assume the worst case where people are easily influenced, where people are always easily influenced to the point where they will just see, oh, he's right, oh, he's not wrong, okay, he's right, or he's wrong. But then they also have the capability to filter out and to choose from which sources who are reliable to make a conclusion for themselves whether the certain person is in the right or wrong. And even then, celebrities are still able to bounce back, and and with that risk in mind, we need to remember what other alternatives are there. Because if we just rely on the justice system, we could, like my first speaker has said, the justice system itself is not always as reliable, because the people who are richer, they will always have the advantage because they are able to hire lawyers, and bribery in itself might happen in the justice system. And one other thing is that even if cancel culture is might be in the wrong, it is still much more. It is still a much more powerful force than the justice system. So even if it's misused, it can also be used against that misuse, against that misusage. And this happens because people who because it is in a social media where everyone is able to relate to each other. So even bigger problems will be shown. Even bigger problems will be handled much more seriously by the government, because they realize by the justice system, because they realize, oh, it's a bigger problem than we think. And this also applies not only to people, not only to famous internet personalities, but also to companies. Through companies are also who also just take or use other people's resources without any form of giving back to it, or without any form of gratefulness, and only using it to maximize their profits. They will be called out for that. That is why people and through that, people will be companies and other people will make sure that they will not do the same thing. They will always try to give back to the community, and they will always try to give back to people. Another thing I would like to mention is that even if cancel culture brings that much support, it also brings back much force. And with whoever has the more supporters and evidence, they will they will obviously dominate the opinion towards that certain person. So one thing I would like to clarify one more time is that with the risk of someone being accused wrongly, there is still the possibility of the person who is accusing them wrongly to be accused, and then with that information, compared to just using it now. If, let's say, the justice system rules all, compared to the justice system, it's much stronger than cancel culture itself. The people who are advantageous in the court session will stay on top, and they will face no repercussions whatsoever. The only reason they will face repercussion is because of the community who are able to fight against them and are proactively against them. And then another thing I would like to mention is that platforms, they rely a lot on platforms rely a lot on revenue for their internet for the internet personalities, and because of cancer culture existing, the social norms that are already pushed will be more heavily implemented within the internet personalities, so that they won't make the same mistake. That is all for my speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now I call upon the third speaker of government team.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
My POI preferences is through unmuting yourself. Starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. I think the whole premise of side opposition is so unclear. They provide you an example of cancel culture being benefited and actually work, but they still need to link that back again to why the rise of it will not be harmed, and the value of it will not be reduced because of the misusement and because of its being normalized in the society. So 2 independent rebels, and then moving on to my first qualification, and then 2 questions on, firstly, why is it principally justified to regret the rise of cancel culture? And then secondly, which sides better cater to a more sustained society? Two independent rebuttal first. So firstly, a contradiction. Their goal is to hold people accountable, right? But to rebirth the justice system. But then this says how celebrities who have stands and fans will be most likely get away because they got defended. And notice how like then people who have power and strong fan base can also get out of that accountability because they have a lot of backup, for example, like fans and richness. This means that holding people accountable is so hard to achieve, right? Precisely when it's at the rise of trending, you will be seen as just faking it, or you'll be just being shamed and silenced by the fan base of the people that you want to speak up against. I don't understand how it will not be the other way back the moment will it be a trend of rising. But then secondly, when they told you that cancel culture can be used back again to the justice system so that it can upgrading the value of it. From the very first start, we never say that we neglect the entire existence of cancel culture, right? We regret the whole trends of it rising, but the whole cancel culture we don't neglect, and we never say that we regret cancel culture, but we say that we regret the rise of it. One clarification first about social media, right? About this matter, I believe that the value of social media has been degraded because of the rise of cancel culture, where the rise of social media has been used to spread hatred because of the normalization of cancel culture. Ultimately, the use of victim to speak up has been reduced to attacking people just because you hate them, and that it will be so hard for you to get belief for people and get attention. So moving into my question, on first, why is it principally justified to regret the rise of cancel culture? Under this, we told you that the cancel culture at first had been successful to expose people who are actually racist or like sexist, for example, and have become a platform for victims to speak out. But the rise of the trend creates a toxic environment that it degrades the value of social media. That every day there will be a new cases of issues where in fact it's just people overreacting, it's just people faking out tweets and faking up incidents. But what did they respond to this? They told you how like people or like celebrities hiding the marks of figure who exploit people at their back. This is not true. Panel notice how like when a celebrity is actually bad or a fashion brand companies that are actually wrong will get cancelled. For example, like Kylie Jenner for exploiting libraries, Alexander Wang who sexually assaulted people. None of any celebrities or company can get away from being cancelled, right? What does it mean? It means that precisely when you are actually wrong and such in a very wrong place, and that people have the proof that it is hard for you to get away anyways. So we don't understand how you need the rise of a trend to do so when in fact you are the wrong, the people have already been wrong in the very first place. But then secondly, they told you the shame that victim will receive because of the consequences of getting attacked by celebrity stands is high when it's not at the rise. This is untrue. Notice how things like investigation, research, providing proof, like I don't think actual victim will just be that dumb to speak up, right? Unless you are just faking or like gaining attention without having no proof. That's why they provide things like screenshot, for example, or any other proofs that proven that you are actually right and sharing the whole very first place. But why is it so important? Firstly, someone's career may have been damaged because of people hatred towards them. Sometimes it's not because they're offensive, but because they are an hateful stigma towards them because you are basic, for example, and didn't really fit the society standards. And this is very detrimental to lots of people. Some people may have suffered from depression for the long term, for example, for trauma that leads them to insecurities, their career being ruined, for example, like Janet Jackson. But then secondly, the main purpose of it as being a place for a victim to be hurt by people, for example, like Ansel Elgort, an actor who done sexual assault towards underage people, can just get away from it because of his backup fans that protects him and told people to not just believe random accusation when it's at the rise, right? And the case that can brush away quickly because it's like a lot. It means that the real actual victim will not get hurt of attention because the rise of it. But then thirdly, innocent people that can drag away to the issue when they have no contributes at all. Like for example, like Conan Gray, where his tweets being edited and became racist. This ultimately creating hoax, a liar, that people who don't understand the actual context will just believe it. Best to the comparison, worst case versus base case, right? Worst case from us is that there are possibility of people who deserve to be cancelled, but they don't get caught. The best case is that people who deserve to be cancelled, for example, like Donald Trump or like any other person who deserve it, get cancelled. But the principle here is that the existence of social stigma that have been created and lies beneath the society, whereas the moment you hear those things like pedophilia, racism, sexism, and will ultimately get called out and hated, leading to them being an outcast, there are check and balances. But then secondly, which has created to more sustained society. Several things that we have underlined that the massive amount of people, whether it's celebrities, others, or pollution in social media, have been cancelled for no unclear reason. You cancel that person simply because you like them. For example, like Olivia Rodrigo, who got hated because she's a 17-year-old girl who makes pop love songs. The base purpose of cancel culture have been reduced to the normalization of people misusing it. But what did I respond? They first talk about like Slazo or other influencers that able to bounce back again. The damage that done before bouncing back is huge, right? Like mental health, subs, or money. Like, sure, bouncing back is more than possible, but the mental damage for the duration is not justified at the end of the day. Secondly, not everyone is able to bounce back. Thirdly, even if they can, rumors in the background still exist with the rise of cancel culture. It's not like everyone can keep up with every news or new piece of drama. That stigma will still exist. But then secondly, when they talk about like criminal justice system that have not enough. Firstly, cancel culture no problem, but like people misuse it because there's no rules. Then secondly, the harms done is bigger than the benefits in the end of the day. Bring up vigilante justice. But then thirdly though, they bring up like innocent until proven guilty. It's better to let one guilty person to go rather than jail 10 innocent people to get one guilty person, right? But then fourthly, better social norms for international personality. This is not really right? This only scares hampers creativity. This will reduce the effectivity that it will be, for example, only get a few weeks of canceling. For example, like Jeffree Star is actually guilty, but still ended up bouncing back exactly because of this effectivity is being reduced, and that they're able to do so because they have a power in the society, for example, or because they are influencers who have strong fan base or have the money to get away from the cases. What this all means? It means that all of the proof and all of the arguments that we give to you, means that the rise of the cancel culture is regrettable because of the parameter that we provide to you, and because of it that has been misused. Side of opposition cannot just argue and giving out example that will work out, but needs to give us a link back on why the rise is not regrettable. We are so proud to propose.
Thank you. May I call upon the third speaker of the opposition?
All right, hang on a second. I will start in 3, 2, 1. One important thing that, in my opinion, the government missed is how they measure exactly the rise of cancel culture. As far as we see it as opposition, the government has a sort of double stance, where in one minute they support cancel culture to cancel some people, like people who legitimately did do something bad, and another minute they just straight up regret cancel culture altogether, not just the rise of cancel culture, but they regret cancel culture altogether for the people who are wrongly accused. So I would like to differentiate the arguments in both of our houses, which is that I would like to argue that there is in no way that we can say for sure that cancel culture could ever rise to that much extremeness. Because mind you, as we have stated from our second speaker and our first speaker, is that these popular people have their own platform. They have a large viewership. They have a lot of people who are willing to listen to them defend themselves. And because they have this large viewership, it is actually just really much easier for them to defend themselves when they're being accused of something
On that point,
very refused. It becomes harder for them, it becomes easier for them to defend themselves for something that is very, very much false or very obviously a hoax. One example I can bring up is even the thing with pyrocynical. The government side really just assumes that people just want to cancel internet personalities left and right with no reason, okay? Like, government hasn't sufficiently explained why these people would actually want to cancel pretty much everyone. Like, do you not realize that maybe these people actually also watch these internet personalities and also get entertainment out of them? Like, if your favorite YouTuber made like a very small slip up, you would obviously want to defend him, right? So that is why as opposition, we would like to say that the rise that the government has proposed is in no way possible. It is very unlikely because they have their own fan bases who will defend whoever they like. And another thing I would like to re-elaborate on from my second speaker is the thing with YouTubers or internet personalities needing ads. And well, you see, the thing is, platforms need ad revenues, correct? And these ad revenues are gotten from other companies. But the thing about this the thing about the modern world is that companies do not want to be associated with anything controversial such as racism or sexism anymore. Now, the thing with cancel culture is that it creates this sort of cautious feeling inside the internet personality, so they don't say anything wrong or they don't do anything wrong or controversial. It makes this sort of like, it sort of like gets rid of this safety net. Like they have this feeling like if they do something wrong, it would actually have real consequences, and as a result, it would mean that they are less likely to do these things. And now, how does this link back to the ad revenue argument I brought up? The thing is, when one of these celebrities
POI?
slip up, ignored, one of these celebrities actually make a slip up is that the companies would be less likely to want to actually put ad revenue into the platform. So as a result, there would be this sort of ad apocalypse, you could say. I'm pretty sure that's a term you're familiar with if you frequent YouTube enough. There's sort of ad apocalypse where there aren't enough ads to go around all the YouTubers. And if there are no ads to go around all the YouTubers, then the YouTubers gain less money, the platform gains less money, and overall, it's a loss for everyone. So again, I would also like to explain a lot of backup, and it's hard to be accountable. It's hard to hold them accountable because they have a lot of backup and fans. Yes, that is exactly why we're supporting the rise of cancel culture in the first place. We did say, and from the beginning, that since these guys have a very large fan base, it's very easy for them to defend themselves, and it's very easy to defend themselves. So we're supporting cancel culture so that the victim actually has a chance to stand up to that internet personality, okay? And mind you, if this victim just baselessly accuses the internet personality, like government likes to propose so much, that it probably and most likely that there is no way that could actually turn out that big, because guess what? People aren't that stupid to begin with. People still want to watch these people. People still want to defend this internet personality. There is in no way it would rise to that much extremeness. Okay, so I would like to compare our worst and best case scenario again. Let's say that in our worst case, okay, sure, people could be canceled for saying small things. People could be canceled for saying small things. But of course, these internet personalities are still given a chance to defend themselves. And if it is really that small, and mind you, like a small social problem, how we define small is very subjective to society as a whole. So if society as a whole does just see it as something small and not worthy of canceling, then they just won't. It can't rise to that much extremeness. And and that's our worst case. See, in your best case, you did say that there would be these big internet personalities that don't get held accountable for their actions. I think you need to realize just how very, very dangerous it is when these internet personalities realize they can't be held accountable for their whatever they did socially wrong. Like, we've been talking about rape abuses, sexual abuses, racism, sexism. You need to really understand that if these people don't understand that there is a consequence behind doing all these things, that it could just end up transferring to their viewers. Because mind you, a lot of viewers of internet personalities are very impressionable teenagers to begin with. This is a very, very real harm. Even if the person doing the discriminatory action, even if it is just as a joke, these are very, very young, impressionable teenagers who can very, very, very likely turn into actual racists because of that. And because of that, we are proud to oppose. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I call upon the reply speaker of opposition team.
Okay, I will start in 3, 2, 1. This whole debate is quite interesting, but also in my opinion, quite a bit lacking. What we have said is that that this whole cancel culture rise brings light to many situations that are still going on. It actually brings it up to the justice system lots of times. Heck, we even said that cancel culture is actually equal because, like what my second speaker has said, fact checkers are everywhere. People aren't as dumb as they were. They will actually check the internet. Now, what my third speaker also said is that it will in no way, it can rise. It can rise to an extreme point. No way it can rise to that extreme point. What you have not said anything about is that how would you actually handle it then? We actually explained why cancel culture is actually good, but you just attacked us, saying that it won't work. So how would you actually handle it? All they've brought is examples and statements without explaining why these people would want to cancel left and right, why people would want to ignore all logic to cancel anything they see. We as opposition have given an explanation as to why cancel culture rising to that extreme is unlikely. We also have explained almost every example that we have brought up. You've only said things about people getting their whole livelihood already taken away because of being wrongly accused. Guess what? That's wrong, because the whole logic of people being wrongly accused, they can bounce back in life, like what my second speaker has said. So in a sense, your whole defense is your offense. Why I'm bringing this up is because this is so important. We have stated so many times about speaking out and giving light to these problems. Examples don't hold without a sufficient logical explanation why these cases happen from your side. That's what you did. So we have stated many things, like bringing light to many situations still going on. It actually brings up to the justice system lots of times. Cancel culture is actually equal because, like what my second speaker has said, fact checkers are everywhere. It actually benefits the social platform too, and no way it can get to extreme, while you have brought up examples and statements without a clear explanation why that is. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I call upon the reply speaker of government team.
Wait, give me a minute. Testing, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, I will set my timer first. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panels, we believe that our side of the House should win this debate based on these reasons. First, we already answered our burden of proof on why the rising of cancel culture should be regretted when the cancel culture might be beneficial for the society. Our side already explained to you on how the rise of cancel culture, making the purpose of the cancel culture itself, is overshadowed and decreasing, making the practice of it becoming ineffective and result to a toxic environment. And we also the house believe that also the house already explained biological explanation and how those kind of things could work and could resort to those issues. Comparing to the rest of the house, we believe that the rest of the house have failed to answer why at the very worst case scenario, even if we cancel people who are innocent, it's still okay. Opposition need to acknowledge that the damage of the cancel culture might be permanent and hard to erase when we already explained those kind of when we already explained that with the rise of the cancel culture itself, meaning that autonomically there will be more innocent people who are cancelled, right? We already explained to you how much worse the harm that could happen for someone who are become the victim of the cancel culture, especially when it's wrongly accused. We believe that with the ignorance of coming from the opposition side of the house, they failed to provide enough argument and rebuttals to tackle our side cases, they making that this kind of point of ours still standing until the end of the debate. Second, we believe that the opposition side of the house believe that we are regretting the cancel culture itself, not the rise of it. There's of the house cases basically just saying how first cancel culture helped the victim, second on how cancel culture as a becoming a way of a check and balance for people who could not afford the usual law system, right? We are clarifying again that we concede that we does not dismissing the benefit of the cancel culture. Instead, we believe that because of the benefit of the cancel culture are very beneficial, we are very sorry if those benefits become ineffective just because many people misuse it, like we previously explained on my previous speaker. Another promise that opposition is trying to prove is how celebrities have a big fan base and how it's going to prevent wrongly accused people. The samples of that they bring are exactly prove our point, right? Sure, they can defend themselves if they're innocent, but in the end of the day, a lot of people blindly believe the allegation first because before fact checking or hearing the side of the people that's being cancelled. Right? For instance, like PewDiePie, James Charles, Pyronesical, and etc. Sure, they eventually prove themselves innocent, but the damage is already done. They've been seen as a rapist, as a sexual harasser, a pedophile, and all of which will stick because of not everyone has the time to watch an hour of long response video to disprove the allegation, etc. Or for instance, like James Charles' business already like big fall and to bankruptcy because of those falsely accusing, right? And second and third of all, on moving to my clashes, I only identify one clashes in this debate, which is the rise of cancel culture should be regrettable by the society itself. Also, the House opened the discussion by saying that it should be regrettable because of the practice of it has making the purpose of cancel culture flawed. We already explained how there are so many people who misuse it to create a toxic environment, how we punish innocent people, how we will not believe anymore because how people will not believe anymore because of the overuse of it. We believe that there's of the house on explaining how it's not going to happen because of they have a big fan base and how it will not happening and etc. Like, but we believe at the end of the debate, there's of the house rebuttals and cases should be brushed off because of those reasons that I've mentioned before in my first and second point. With all of that, we believe that Usman Dua should win this debate, and we are so proud to propose.
Thank you. Our debate have ended. I'm passing the mic to the committee. Is there anything that committee wanted to deliver?
Oke, terima kasih kepada para juri yang telah memandu English Debate Competition pada pagi hari ini. Kami ingatkan kembali bahwa pemenang akan diumumkan di acara closing ceremony Glarisa Cup 2021 pada tanggal 27 Maret nanti. So, jangan lupa untuk follow Instagram @GlarisaCup supaya kalian tetap update dan nggak ketinggalan info penting lainnya. Terima kasih juga kami ucapkan kepada para sponsor yang telah dengan setia mendukung terlaksananya Glarisa Cup 2021. Ada Yudhistira, Majalah Mata Air, Smart Pool, dan Soul of Pearl. Sebelum kita mengakhiri acara kita, marilah kita berfoto bersama sebagai kenang-kenangan di hari kemudian. So, saya mohon kepada seluruh panitia, kemudian para juri, dan juga peserta untuk mengaktifkan kameranya. Kepada panitia yang bertugas, dipersilakan. Baik, terima kasih. Saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada seluruh hadirin yang telah menyempatkan hadir pada pagi hari ini. Mohon maaf apabila ada kata-kata yang kurang berkenan di hati. Saya Tara, selaku perwakilan dari panitia, pamit undur diri. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang dan sampai jumpa.
Thank you for the debate.
Thank you for the debate.
Yep, thank you.
For the debate.
Thank you.
Terima kasih semuanya.